definition of greatness?
Alignment. It's purely alignment. If I'm aligned with my values and principles and my goals and dreams, I'm the most fulfilled, happiest person alive.
Hello everybody, thank you guys for joining my very first long-form YouTube video. Okay, it's not actually my first, but you get what I mean. It's the first one on this revamp of this new channel, and I definitely tend to stay more dedicated to this one because we've got a bunch of podcast equipment. It sounds really nice to hear my voice, so I thought I'd jump straight into this first video by explaining to everybody what I believe personal development is, how that breaks down into different subcategories, and how it can help you if you follow along with the journey. So if you want to listen in on what personal development is, I had no better way of explaining this than to type it into ChatGPT, so let me read you the results of that now. Personal development refers to the lifelong process of improving oneself and striving for personal growth in various aspects of life. It involves actively working on developing skills, knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors to reach one's full potential, enhance well-being, and achieve personal goals. Personal development encompasses a wide variety of areas, including self-awareness, emotional intelligence, goal setting, lifelong learning, self-improvement, time and stress management, communication and interpersonal skills, mindfulness and well-being, leadership and personal effectiveness, financial management. Personal development is a lifelong journey that involves self-reflection, self-motivation, and intentional actions. It requires a growth mindset, and a willingness to learn and adapt, and a commitment to personal growth and self-improvement. Personal development empowers individuals to take control of their lives, reach their full potential, and lead fulfilling and purposeful lives. Alright, so let's jump into the first one, that is self-awareness. And that's basically, being able to get in tune with your feelings, with your emotions, understanding what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can play to those to become a better person, right? For example, me, I absolutely knew that I was a procrastinator, and procrastinating wasn't going to get me very far. I also knew that my strengths were just really good with communication, and hence I'm doing something that involves communication. But I think I've always had that dream, right? Like, I can remember back to being 15 years old, going to a trip to San Francisco where the Freedom Riders spoke, and each single one of them gave a very compelling story. And I just thought to myself the entire time, like, man, I'd really love to be one of those people up there. I'd really love to share my story one day and be able to talk about it and influence masses of people. I think the same attribute came by when I was 17. In my senior year of high school, there was a competition for a scholarship that basically you had to give a speech for. And we actually got professional Toastmasters, which is a club of well-rounded professional speakers, to come and kind of give us some lessons on how to speak, how to give our presentation, how to feel, how to put emotion to the story, and all of that good stuff. And I definitely had interest in that. I loved doing it, and I thought to myself, man, this would be cool if this was like, a career for me. Unfortunately, unless you have a lot of money, not many people want to listen to you, or unless you have a very, very sad, compelling story, not many people are going to empathize with you. And so that's kind of what I'm learning, right? That's kind of on this journey I'm going on. And I guess my route would be to make a lot of money, to then have influence, to then be able to give off the influence and help others. All right, so second key attribute in personal development is emotional intelligence. And this is whether or not you can read your own emotions, but not only your own emotions, read others' emotions around you as you're communicating. So this is like mostly dealing with interpersonal communication. First and foremost, this is talking about the relationships and how you deal with relationships, right? Whether it's the relationship with your boss, whether it's the relationship with your coworkers, whether it's the relationship with your significant other or family members, right? Significant other, probably the most important one. I see this all the time through my timeline. The girls are saying, oh, the good men are gone. Or the guys are saying, well, girls nowadays, it's just not like what they used to be. So on and so forth, right? Like, I got this nephew, he's in the dating scene, or at least he's trying to be, and it's just not working out for him for whatever reason. And I'm telling him, like, dude, I don't know about you, but like, it's just really not that. Like, if you look at dating as it was sales, right? There's multiple prospects. You turn those prospects into potential clients, and then you close, right? So Not even just like on a sleeping around thing, right? But just like, okay, there's 50 girls in your Instagram, right? You hit up 50 of them, 10 of them might reply. Out of those 10, 3 of them might, go further and have an actual conversation. Out of those 3, you find one, you date her, you see whether you like it's a match or not a match for you. But it's really not that hard. The fact that you're not going out there, it's a reflection of how you interpret feelings, right? So if you're gonna be all sad and mopey and be like, oh well, maybe she won't reply to me, oh maybe she doesn't like me, then how are you gonna get anything like that, right? Or vice versa, right? If you're a piece of shit dude and you're just trying to hit every single girl, then at that point you're not really worth talking to, are you? And so that's kind of where personal development comes in, right? You have to play a game within yourself on how you can better yourself, but it also comes into play with like, how are you empathizing, are you sympathizing, how are you working with that relationship, are you understanding to her schedule being busy or your schedule being busy, are you guys communicating effectively, are you saying sorry when you have to say sorry, are you apologizing if you messed up, is that communication actually happening, right? Like, she shouldn't have to be thinking, oh, is he out here with some other girl, is he doing this, is he doing that? Communication should just be there, right? And then you go on to like what your own personal childhood trauma is. That's a whole nother story. I'm just simply talking about like getting it to an interpersonal communication level. Like, you guys can communicate effectively, you can work on you, and that's how that will get better, right? But like the whole spiel of like, oh, there's no good people out here left, I just don't buy it. I mean, I don't know, for me it was definitely like I was on this road of personal development, and something struck, like at the stroke of midnight on my birthday, turning from 24 to 25. I woke up being 25 years old. I now owned a business. Well, that was like 2 months after, right? I now owned a business. I got married and I was a father. Boom, boom, boom. And it was literally like that just because I worked on myself more than I worked on anything else. I worked on myself more than I worked on my job. Worked on myself more than I worked on trying to find a girl. Worked on myself more than I worked on anything. And this till today still happening, but now good things are happening around me. And that's kind of the importance of it. Moving into the next topic would be goal setting. Goal setting is to set sustainable and achievable goals for you, different various aspects of your life, and that should provide direction and motivation for you, right? So goal setting will literally be the difference between you making $50,000 this year and $75,000 next year and $100,000 the next year and $150,000 the next year after that. Goal setting is very important, but this is the problem I see with goal setting. All right, it becomes very hard for people. Tony Robbins has a quote that I follow all the time that says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. Absolutely the truth there. When we start making our New Year's resolutions or our New Year's plans and we start listing out our goals for the years, everybody shoots for the stars and it's like, boom, hit this, boom, hit, I'm going to lose 150 pounds. It's like, oh, okay. I'm going to lose, I'm going to make $100 million this year. And it's like, well, you're not even at $1 million yet. How are you going to get to 100 million? So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm just saying if you set them more attainable where you can actually hit them off the list, then it might be more realistic. Or if you're very, very motivated and you have a goal that you really, really want to hit, here is 2 things that I can help you with that might provide some value to you. 1, massive action. As long as you're taking massive action, doesn't matter which direction you go, you're still going to make some type of progress towards that goal, and then you'll hit that goal faster. What do I mean by this, right? If my goal was to lose 150 pounds and my massive action, I just went to the gym every single day, okay? And at the gym, I just ran on the treadmill. It didn't matter about my diet. It didn't matter whether I had a coach or not. It didn't matter what I did. As long as I was running every single day, I promise you I lost weight. Maybe not 150 pounds, but I did lose the weight that I needed to lose. Same thing applies. As long as you're taking massive action, eventually, it doesn't matter which, how you're going on the route to success, but eventually you will hit towards that mark. But massive action is very, very important for this. The second thing with goal setting is, if you read a book called The 12-Week Year, all right, it turns your entire year into 3 months. I'll be honest with you, I read this thing, I was just kind of skimming through it, and then I did the Audible, so I was listening to it, and it came up with some pretty sharp ideas. So I actually ended up making a 12-week year plan for myself. We went through it. I went through it over with my nephew, and he was like, "Dude, this seems unachievable. This is pretty wild." And I said, "I know, but as long as I stick to it, you hit the mark." So a lot of it is okay. You make what your year plan would be, and like I said, even me, we overshoot what we could do for a year. But not only that, like instead of processing it month by month or quarter by quarter, you're processing this week by week. And so Saturday comes and you say, okay, Monday through Saturday, what did I hit? How did I hit it? How can I do better for the following week? And then Sunday is all preparation. Okay, these are the marks I have to hit this week. How do I hit this week? And then you keep killing it. You keep killing it. You keep killing it. So in I guess my example, my goal was to make $100,000 in sales, so $100,000 revenue, not profit, revenue. And the goal for that was that I'd have to make $8,000 worth of estimates every month, or sorry, every week to be able to hit that mark. So the first week of that 12-week plan, we absolutely hit 8,500. Second week, we hit 9,000. Third week, we ended up going under. We did $4,500. So all I did was I took the difference of that. So it was like $3,500. And we just did $3,500 into the remainder of the 12 weeks, which was, I think it was like 200, and I don't know, it was some weird number. So I added a little extra. I just put $500 to every week just in case the same thing happened over. And then week 4 we ended up hitting boom, like I think it was like $11,000. Week 5 we went back to $8,000. Week 6 $8,000, and we were just hitting our mark because I was setting up for it every single week, and I was preparing myself every single Monday or Sunday for how that week was going to go. And we hit the marks, and it actually paid off for me. But yeah, hitting that in just the 3 months actually made me feel good, because now I know as long as I can do this 3 times over, we will definitely outgrow what we did last year. And that, for me, that's a win all around, because when you win in finance, you win everywhere else. It just kind of works out that way. I don't know why. Moving on, lifelong learning would be topic number 4. Topic number 4 is lifelong learning. And this is important for anybody, right? I think as we go and we become more experienced in life, as we grow older, obviously we have more knowledge because we've seen more things, but it doesn't stop there. Like, nothing's telling you you've read every single book in the world. Nothing's telling you you've watched every video out there. For those of you that are enjoying Netflix, right, you haven't watched every saga. You haven't binge watched every single episode of TV on, at least I hope you haven't. So lifelong learning is very important to be able to continue your personal development journey, and that's probably the most important thing, right? If we just talk about the 10 topics that are here, there's literally books upon books upon books in every single one of these subcategories. You would be reading for the rest of your life if you really stuck to it. But with that being said, right, like my goal, my journey was never to hit just one shop, one business, and then retire and be done with it. I've always had this goal to just keep going for the remainder of my life. So it'd probably be a 10-20 year for this first one, and then having multiple shops open up, it would be 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years, and then the last 20 years would just be straight influence. Can I affect the masses of people in the best time possible? Time and stress management. Okay, what does this do for you? What does time management do for you? For me personally, I'll kind of explain my take to it. Time management does 2 things for you. One, as you become more effective with your time, you also get more done in a day. So it actually helps you become more effective, obviously, right? But so what does that mean for you, right? The more time that you have available, the more time that you can start learning new tasks or doing new things, right? So if previously you didn't have enough time because you worked for 8 hours and you came home and you did Netflix, then now you can say, hey, I won't do Netflix anymore. Let me use those 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours of time that I had, and let me read a book. Now, 4 hours a day, in a week, you'll finish a book, and then you can get on to a next book. Now, 32 books later, you're much wiser, you've grown, you've developed a new skill, or you've developed more knowledge that can help you further into either further into your career or to start something else on the side, right? So now your time is more effective. But I'll tell you the second thing, and this one probably more important. As you learn how to become more efficient with your time, all time management is strategy. So the more strategy you can get, the more effective you are in anything. And that's kind of the importance of time management, because the better you are at managing your time, the more strategy you have. The more strategy you have, the more successful you'll be. Business is all about strategies, and the more that you can fit in a strategy to something, the better chances you have at succeeding at it. As Patrick Bet-David would like to put it, every chess player knows his next 5, 10, 15 moves, and that is all a strategy. So time management is probably step number 1 into developing strategies to get you further ahead. Communication and interpersonal skills. So this kind of ties back to point number 2, I believe it was. Let me check my notes. Yeah, the emotional intelligence thing. Same thing happens here, right? Interpersonal skills. You can't say that all your exes were bad and you did nothing wrong. You kind of have to take some form of accountability and say, no, I messed that up. I messed that up. And if you're just a really rude person when it came to relationships, then you definitely know you got some work to do. And go ahead, put in that work, put in the personal development, change who you are, because you can become a better person. Leave all that childhood trauma aside. Leave all that jealousy aside. Leave all those insecurities. Put that shit in a box, lock it up, and never see that shit again. All right, moving on. Mindfulness and well-being. Obviously, you have to practice mindfulness. You have to get your head state in the right place. You have to come and have the same attitude of, I'm going to conquer anything every single day. That's kind of the important ballpark. Like, none of this personal development stuff would matter if your mind is telling you every morning, like, you're not going to do it. There's no point in doing this. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. It's going to be too risky. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. If you have a negative mindset, none of the other stuff I'm talking about even matters. So that's mindfulness and just, leadership and personal effectiveness. So this is definitely a big part of it. This is why I am so in tune with this. Leadership is how you treat others. Leadership is how you take accountability for everything that happens. Leadership is not being a victim. Leadership is being more influential and actually being accountable for the things you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to do something, then you absolutely have to do it. I mean, point blank, period. It's as simple as that. So as you may have heard or may have not have heard from my previous videos, I was put into a leadership position into the previous company that I was with at a very early age. Most of the people under me, I believe, were old. Actually, that's not a false statement. Every single person under me was older than me. And so there was kind of some bad blood there, some kind of mixed feelings because I was the younger one, but I was the manager. Okay, look, it gets really weird. I don't want to make my head so big because I was a manager. Just point being is personal development got me to a manager position. Manager position made me good money. Good money made me able to take bigger opportunities. I myself took the risk factor. I wanted to go all in with it, so I quit my job, ended up making more money. Look, point of it is leadership is definitely a very important skill when it comes to personal development. Leadership is probably what every single company tells you to work on, and all the companies that do tell you to work on leadership all kind of train you how to be a better worker. So it doesn't really make sense to me. You should learn your leadership elsewhere. All right, financial literacy. This is the last and final step, so let's get right into it. I'm going to read you the ChatGPT definition, and then I'll kind of take my take on it. Financial management, developing financial literacy skills, budgeting, saving, and making informed financial decisions to achieve financial stability and independence. This is an important one, folks, because this is probably step 1 of personal development. I think this is kind of where everybody goes to because everybody's all freaked out because they can't put their money together. And then they're like, I need money. How do I do it? How do I do it? And that's kind of why personal development branch was born. Okay, budgeting, saving, making informed financial decisions. Let me read that again. Making informed financial decisions. I would say that the overwhelming majority of coworkers that I used to have were focused on spending their money on some big new toy. It was whether they were going to buy a motorcycle, whether they were going to buy a new car, whether they were going to have a $900 car payment, whether they were going to go on a weekend trip to Vegas, whether they were going to, this weekend I'm going to go do, you know, we're going to go to Vegas, or this weekend we're going to go clubbing. It's going to be so fun. Or I bought concert tickets. People were still raving. It was talking about like, oh, we're going to EDM. Oh, we're going, or EDC. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. And it's like, dude, you name it. They were spending their money left and right. And then they'd come to work Monday and be like, oh man, we don't get paid enough here. We don't get paid enough to do all the shit we have to do. And it's like, no, we get paid appropriately. We get paid pretty well. You're just not putting any of that away. So you can't sit here and complain talking about, oh, we don't get paid enough. There's two options there. Either you learn how to get paid more, which is a completely, you know, part of the personal development, why it's important. Or the second option is, with what you have, you just learn to keep more of it. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. For those of you who think I'm being really, really rude or insensitive to people that are working 2-3 jobs and trying to make a living and still can't make ends meet, I'm not talking about those people. I know that there's definitely some tough situations out there and really weird circumstances in which people cannot make it out. I get that. What I'm referring to is to like the hundreds of thousands of people that are literally sitting in jobs. They go to work for 8 hours a day, but they're not actually working 8 hours a day, if you understand what I mean. Those are the people I'm referring to, not so much the people that are working 16-hour days in blue-collar jobs or other kind of jobs where they're really breaking their backs and they're not getting compensated appropriately for it. In our case, however, it was very comfy. I wouldn't say desk job, but basically a desk job because you were sitting down all day. It wasn't hard labor at all, and we made decent salaries for the type of work that we were doing. That's what I'm referring to, so please understand when I'm telling you that every single person that worked with me in that company definitely had an opportunity to achieve for a promotion. There were promotions going on pretty often, and there was definitely opportunity to be able to move up and out of the stress situation that they were in financially. That is what I'm referring to, so please don't get carried away and say, oh, this guy's insensitive, oh, he's entitled, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. I just learned to make the best of my situations from early on because of personal development, so that's all I'm trying to say. Alright, we're going to wrap up this video here. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this, and I'm going to wrap this up by reading the last paragraph in this ChatGPT definition of personal development. Here we go. Personal development is a lifelong journey that involves self-reflection, self-motivation, and intentional actions. It requires a growth mindset, a willingness to learn and adapt, a commitment to personal growth and self-improvement. Personal development empowers individuals to take control of their lives, reach their full potential, and lead more fulfilling and purposeful lives. All right? So let that sink in. Think about that as you watch this video. Think about that as you're going on about your day. Think about what you can do today to start on this personal development journey. Some people that I may recommend to you: Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David, Graham Stephan if you're into the financial decisions here. Jim Rohn was a coach of Tony Robbins. Just some names out there. But otherwise, feel free to like and subscribe to this video so you can get more content like this. We plan to kick this off very strong. I plan to do at least one video a week, but if not, I can hit 2, 3. You know, we'll see how this goes. Very excited for the future. So thank you for following, like, and subscribe.